I mean, AI is a huge conversation in our industry. And let's be honest, it's not a bad thing. There's value in start using AI as starting point. I think so for me, that relationship and the culture of a business is everything.
Welcome to the Art of Kaizen for Entrepreneurs, growing 1% everyday podcast.
Hello and welcome to the BuzzFeed Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Berry. Do you feel like you spend every waking moment working on how to get customers into your business, trying to stay on top of like trending audios and trending visual hooks and all the things happening on TikTok and Instagram and not spending time on actually growing your company and working on the internal practices? Well, our guest today takes the stress of marketing and advertising out of your hands and ensures a higher level of overall success with less hassle to you. Welcome to the show, Alicia James from Flamingo Consulting.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I love the animation. She came on with the biggest smile on her face and ready to go. And I love the energy. How are you doing today, Alicia?
I'm absolutely fantastic. It's finally sunny. We're based in Michigan, so the sun is rare up in here, I swear.
Sun is rare. Yeah, we're down in Florida, so the sun is constant, and we sweat walking to the car. But
It's just devastating for you, I'm sure. It sounds
um,
awful.
I'll trade with you at some points of the year. Some points of the year I'll trade. When you're shoveling snow, though, I'll stay down here.
Honest to God, that's when I'm gonna come visit you, so that
Okay,
works
I
great.
love it. I love it. So, Alicia, you're located in Michigan. You developed this company, Flamingo Consulting. You've been around for over a decade now. Can
Yeah.
you give us a little bit of a breakdown of how you started this company and really what is it?
Honestly, we kind of started by accident. So, I was working for a big international company. I was about to have my first kid, and I was on bed rest, and I realized over, the 8 weeks that I couldn't get off my couch, that I could do my job in 4 hours a day instead of eight, and then I could take a nap, watch some Law and Order. It was great. And then when I had my daughter, I decided I wanted to be home with her instead of, being stuck in a cubicle farm forever. And they asked me to create a consulting agency, which back then I thought was just insane. Who would want to pay me to do the same thing I was doing before? But here we are. So it started as my research background. I have a market research background. I was doing that for different executives as they moved around. And then I started picking up not just learning, but then strategy development. And then from strategy development, we started doing implementation. And it just went from this little thing I guess I'll do because they can't replace me at this business to a full-blown digital marketing agency with a staff, and we're focusing on literally everything. If it shows up on your phone, we're helping clients to harness it for their businesses.
Oh, I love that. I love it. Can you dive into everything? Are you hitting email, organic, paid, website development? Do you cover everything digital from
All of it.
Oh,
So we do social media, organic and paid social media ads. We do Google ads. We're doing website builds. We're doing SEO. We're doing email campaigns. We even do like text campaigns before. Just whatever it takes. We know that clients need it to be touching their end consumer and their ideal target up to 20 times before somebody will ever convert. And why would we wait with just one avenue when we know we can have multiple places that we can use as a touch point and an anchor to allow a client to grow faster, stronger, and feel more reliable to their end consumer?
oh, I love that. It's creating a true omni-channel approach and making sure you can touch the consumer from multiple different directions and having one house where they're a customer or a client could come to get everything they need from meta ads, email marketing, organic
Yes.
social. I love it. Well, let
And
me
imagine how much it creates a confidence for your end customer when everything feels and looks cohesive. When you have 100 people touching the same things, even with brand standards, it's so easy to just lose sight of the direction or the voice. Having it all in one place means one, you don't have to worry about it. And two, it is so consistent every step of the way. It feels like the same thing all the time.
I love that. Let me ask, is that what you find to be the biggest problem in the industry? Obviously, are you guys industry agnostic? Are you working with multiple different types of businesses?
We're industry agnostic because end consumers are human. We
Yep.
speak to humans. So we don't necessarily niche down. I do think that's one of the biggest problems, and not just that we're inconsistent in voice, but that I don't know any business owner, with few exceptions, who own marketing agencies, a couple of us, right, that got into business because they wanted to do marketing. They got into business because they loved a product or because they saw an opportunity or they saw value in something. They didn't get into it to go write 75 email campaigns and click funnels and meta ads. That's not their specialty and it's not what they should be spending time doing. We have these clients that joined or that created a business to give themselves freedom, and now they're chained to a desk every day trying to learn what a trending sound is and how to upload a reel.
Is yeah, I love it. I mean, you're hitting the nail on the head, and constantly the problem that we see in society today is like everybody wants to be the best at everything. Just because we have the opportunity to learn a little from YouTube or gain some information online, we think we're experts. But these
Yeah.
platforms aren't easy, and the system of marketing, if everybody knew how to do it, we'd have a lot more successful business owners, right? So,
Right.
dive a little bit into more of what you find the biggest problem is in your industry specifically. As a company that's industry agnostic, is there to help for every asset of the business to grow. What is the type of problems that you walk in with certain clients that are just so difficult to solve that it's almost impossible, or just the toughest client to find success with?
I think the biggest thing that amazes me in this industry is everybody is doing and struggling with the exact same thing. And I think you touched on it. It's that overwhelm of trying to know and be and build everything like an expert. And then that constant feeling of like, it's not right, it's not good enough. Why isn't it working? Well, maybe it would work, but you don't have time to be consistent doing it. So I find that most clients, when we first sit down with them, is this ball of anxiety. You can see it in their shoulders of just, there's just not enough time. And I'm so stressed and I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. That's okay. I know exactly what I'm doing with your marketing. Hand it off. Let me help you. Let me take some of that off of your shoulders. I think most business owners feel like they have to be Atlas and they put the world on their shoulders. It doesn't have to be this complicated. Instead, let me use my superpowers and my team use their, I think we're at this point with the size of our team, almost 100 years of marketing experience in our team. Let us do the hard part that you're not comfortable with, because there's no way I could do their business and create their product or their service because it's not my superpower. Let me help. And it's so funny to me that usually when we're leaving those meetings, it's like they're lighter. It's like they dropped 100 pounds at at this coffee shop, and it's so much easier just to function, knowing that you get to take some time and you get to take this pressure off. And God forbid, some of them even take vacations because they don't have to write email campaigns and social media and upload a reel every 20 minutes because that's what they think their business is required to do.
It's crazy how much freedom comes when there's consistent customer acquisition and you're not handling the process, right? When you just have to stay in your lane and execute on your service, your customer retention, your customer service, things that actually matter when you first develop the company. Most people, as you said, they don't develop the company in the mind of like, hey, I'm going to become a roofer, but I'm super stoked to be handing out flyers and to be
Man, I just love going door to door
right.
because that's my favorite thing to do as a
Yeah,
roofer, or
that
that's the only way I think I can.
and it's crazy because a lot of the efforts that come into the marketing field are things that business owners would avoid if they had a choice, right?
Yeah.
So the hard form of marketing, the hard sales pitch, they're hiring people for all that, but it's the
Yeah.
bloodline. It's everything. If you don't have customers, you don't have a business, period. So
And the funnel has to be huge because I mean, realistically, there's so much information out there. Your end consumer is smarter and they have the ability to verify or look at everything. And so if you have a website that looks kind of sketchy or doesn't look consistent or it looks like a scam, everyone is concerned that every email they get is a scam. How do we make sure that it feels, looks, and sounds consistent so that the things that they were seeing and seeking out already, it's like through Google Ads, looks and feels the same when they're getting an email from you?
love that. Synergy is how you, if no one knew this, synergy is how you're going to develop brand. You do not get brand
100%.
recognition by looking different on every platform that you go to. So, Alicia, I love this. Let's get into a little bit more of the ideal client, right? We talked about some of the problems that we see and some of the issues that we find when we're dealing with these clients. But for you, who is the ideal clients for you?
Our ideal client is typically a business that has between, I don't know, 500,000 in volume or in sales up to about 5 million. It's typically one that's grown really quickly and has outpaced their ability to hire, or a company that looks at it and goes, I need multi-channel and I can't hire an entire department. We, at an average, are a third of the cost of an entire digital marketing department. And you don't have to do hiring, firing, or onboarding. We hit the ground running and do it for you. So we're sort of like your pocket digital marketing department.
I love that. So you're more of an in-house team that develops right for them and have all the service, and really looking for that client that is scaling, that is growing, and that hits that cap, that needs that
Exactly.
understanding that the next step is either build an internal marketing team and develop the hiring pipeline, the SOPs, the guidelines, the KPIs, the structure, the management team around it, and the depths that we've had to go into just to build our
Yeah.
companies. They have to build that whole thing internally, or they can hire you. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. So in all that, that being your ideal customer, how are you unique? How are you different when it comes to your business specifically and in your agency? Are you doing anything that is groundbreaking, that's different? With Flamingo Consulting, what is your personal unique selling proposition?
So I think what makes us unique is that we are awkward. We are exactly like our namesake. We're loud and we're kind of awkward, and we're going to ask questions that don't really feel like they make sense, but eventually they'll tie back. We want to understand and we take ownership of your success as a business rather than, like, I'm not trying to sell you a massive program that you don't need. If you have an amazing in-house web designer, I don't want to touch it. I also want to support you in growing. So if that means that the best thing I can do for you is to tell you I'm not a good fit, I have 5 other agencies that I would love to connect you with. This is their contact name. This is why I think this is a great option for you. And this is why you should call them. I am the first one to love to get fired. I have clients that have grown so well and so quickly that they decide to hire someone in house, somebody that can be there every single day and doing the things that we're already doing. The best day is when somebody calls me to fire me. Like, hey, we're going to cancel our contract because we hired this amazing new content writer and she's doing all of these things for us. I I send flowers. I'm so excited. Um, we are just we all we care about, I feel like, at the end of the day, and what makes us unique is growth. We want to see businesses taking a step forward. During 2020, I feel like most agencies, they you went one of two ways. You started playing dirty, or you really started focusing on what your clients needed. And a
Yeah.
lot of our clients in 2020, when we were really small, were businesses that didn't even have a digital footprint. We were trying to nudge them to make a Facebook page,
Mm.
or we were trying to get them to do just a little something like a one-page landing website. And during 2020, when everything went into lockdown, we had to help businesses take the next right step. It didn't have to be all the steps. I just need to be able to help you keep open until you're allowed to open your physical doors again. And I feel like that's what has helped us grow. In 2020, we quadrupled in size. And because we were focused on what can I give you? How can I support you? What connection do you need? And our entire team is built that way naturally. We're all small business owners. All of us have a small business background. We understand the pain points. So we're here even as a sounding board, or I don't even know how to write this email to a customer that's really angry. Call me. I will happily walk through it and let's see how we can write this together. And that's just one of the things that we offer. We want to help you and support you in growing. And sometimes that even means some free coaching. Like, give me a call. I'm happy to help you, guide you on this next step forward in your business.
Alicia, just the transparency and the desire for growth. I mean, I've been in the same marketing field for over a decade now, and it's crazy to hear the recent conversations that have arisen for
Mhm.
profit and not just revenue. And it's like,
Yeah,
man, I thought we were supposed to be doing that from the beginning. And it sounds like you were on the same path, that you were there to develop systems that actually represent growth, that actually represent revenue coming into the business, that did in a transparent and honest way, that used all the channels that were available to the client to really bring in the best opportunity for them to grow. I love it.
absolutely.
And your transparency just shines through. You can tell by your passion and the energy that you put in just talking about these little things that you really do care. And I think that's one of the biggest defining differences from agency to agency is how much do you care about every individual client that you have on that list. The effort
Absolutely.
that you put in into the employees that you train and everything across the board creates something unique. And you guys definitely have something unique. But to create something like this, you have to go through a lot of trials and a lot of
Mhm.
tribulations and a
Oh, yeah.
lot of back and forth to get where you are. What do you think is the number one challenge that you've gone through in your business, and how did it kind of pave the way of to where you are today?
I think so for me, that relationship and the culture of a business is everything. Like I can realistically, we're in marketing, but I could teach anybody to write an email and how to do it well. I could teach anybody to create a Facebook post or a great reel. The power comes in empathy and in not only with our clients, but within our internal team. I'm biased. I think I have the greatest team on the planet. They are absolutely freaking incredible, but we're all very different. And we all have, like I said, that small business background, but we have parents and we have freelancers and we have people who have full-time gigs and they just really like shoe money. And so they decide to be a part of our flamingo flock. I think what was really hard for me in the beginning was I thought I had to do it the way that everybody else did. And shockingly, I am not like anybody else is. I buck the trend. If you tell me how I'm supposed to do something, it just makes me want to dig my heels in and walk the other way, just out of principle. Um, and so it was one of those things that I had to get out of my own way, I think, a little bit, in not only how I hired, but how I train, how I onboard, how I treat my team. Um, my team all works independently. I don't care when you work. I need the work done. I have a timeline. But if you want to work at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm so happy for you. Please just don't call. Like drop me a message. I'll if I'm awake, I will message back, but don't call. Um, I prioritize self-care for not only myself, but also for my team. You don't ask me for a vacation. You just go on vacation and you tell me when you're back so I don't assign you anything. We want to do the same thing for our clients. We want to support them when they're having a bad day, when they're needing some help. It's what can I do? How can I step in? A recent client of ours just found out his wife has cancer. So I call and go, what can I do? What do you need to take off your plate? Do you need to forward a phone calls for a while? Do you need me to manage email lists? Do you need my team to do this? Would you like me to direct emails in a different place while this is kind of managed? Do you want me to put up an away message for a while? It's intended to be taking care of humans. And I think most businesses don't start that way. I spent a lot of time developing the business that I wanted to work for. And I think it shows through in how we've grown, but also people don't recognize it when they see us. When we're hiring for new staff, we have 2 open positions right now that we're hiring for. People are confused when they read our listing. Like, you mean I get to work from home and wear yoga pants and I can work when I want, and you're going to scale to how many hours I want, and you're going to train me? They're very confused. Like, this is just not how business is done, right? And so I think breaking that mold and breaking that expectation was one of the hardest things, not only for me to deal with, but for us to teach people this is how we do things.
Alicia, I think we just became best friends. I just incredible. The stature and the morals. I mean, you brought up the concept of empathy. You brought up the concept. Really, you didn't say the term, but the base level of this is that you are doing a job that is extraordinarily difficult. We have an 85% failure rate in businesses in the
Uh-huh.
first couple of years across the board, and you're in a space where your job is to make sure that business doesn't fail. You have a
Exactly.
15% success rate, generally saying, and you're out here putting all of your passion, all of your energy, all of your emotion to the care of the client so their business can be successful. You can hear it coming through here. I hope all the listeners here can hear it as well. And this is the true defining factor of a good marketer and a bad one. It is the energy that they put towards the efforts to success and the empathy that they have for not just the people they're working for, but also for the customers they're relating with. That
Yeah.
combination creates a extraordinarily powerful combo of being in the face of your customer and understanding where they live and finding the emotion to bring it all together to create action. Alicia, I love it. I absolutely love it. Let me ask you this question. Where do you think the industry is going in the next 5 to 10 years? Do you believe that there's going to be more
Oh.
agencies like yours coming out? Do you find that AI is going to take over everything and agencies will be null and void? Where do you think the next 5 to 10 years looks like?
Ooh, this one's tough. I mean, AI is a huge conversation in our industry. Um, and let's be honest, it's not a bad thing. There's value in start using AI as starting points. It's a great kickoff. It's so much easier to edit something than it is to create it from the blinking blank screen with a cursor, right? We know that that's true. I think what AI may never be able to do is write with the key emotion in mind. So we're humans. We make decisions based on emotion, and then we find facts to back up the choice, right? Like we're not as logical as we think we are. And I don't see any way that AI can do that. there is just a level of, you have to understand the life of this person. So when we do, for instance, as humans, when we do brand identity or brand building, I'm asking who this person is. And normally clients will do what you would feed into AI. They're, a 35-year-old woman. She's got 3 kids. She's primary parent, and she lives in a suburb, right? Great. AI can write for that. But what we're not thinking about is, okay, well, she is stressed, she's anxious, she's constantly thinking she's not good enough. We need to make her feel either empowered or feel like she's doing a good job or she's taking care of things that are important for her. We also need her to think about herself a little bit. So we actually dig into how the person feels. And I don't see that AI could ever do that. I think AI is going to streamline agencies, but I think agencies are going to divide. I think you're going to have the ones that do well, they do okay, and they lean heavily into AI. And then you're going to have the ones who take AI and run in the direction of really understanding what the output is. And those are going to soar. So I think you're going to see a big gap happen before the we use AI for everything kind of starts to dwindle away. I also think at some point, every search engine, everything you use, just like you can go into incognito mode, is going to have an AI blocking tool where I can block any content that looks or seems like it's written by AI. And can you imagine how many websites will not be viewable anymore if you could swipe that on Google? I think that is where this industry is going, is you're going to see a big backlash against AI at some point because it feels deceptive. That means there's not a person behind it. I don't want to be talking to a computer. I want to be talking to a human.
Alicia, I literally, the last podcast, if you guys haven't heard it, I broke down the same exact concept. The
Ah,
lack of empathy, the lack of emotional tie back that the AI system just can't quite understand. And you brought it up in such a well articulated way. Just the fact that you can have a general consumer avatar by demographics, by locations, by even
yeah.
interests, but what are their pain points? Where is their emotional tie back? Where is the problem that you actually have as a human being in that situation? And how do we write towards that? How do we make creative towards that? And that's something that I don't think AI can ever truly process. I love it. I love it. I
I
have
was actually just joking with a client the other day that like their ideal target, their target persona is a early 30s mom with really young kids. And I'm like, you realize that you need to hook her and probably with pictures a little bit more than reels because she's hiding in the bathroom right now, trying to just have a minute to herself. And the best she can do is lock herself in the bathroom and just speed scroll. Like you have to grab this woman's attention, which means you need to have something that just is sharp and in her face, but also feels comforting and nurturing immediately.
Mhm.
And they looked at me and went, it has never occurred to me that our client is watching this in the bathroom. Yes, she is.
The
She's
only free
hiding and
time she
she's
gets.
probably just been
Yep.
crying. Like, let's be honest.
Yep.
So understanding for us understanding is like, what is that lifestyle like? What does that
Mhm.
person feel and think? And where are they fitting you in? But also, like, you have to understand how broken she feels or how excited they are to work with you or excited they are or should be to buy your product. And if you don't harness that piece, I don't see AI ever being able to do that without, my gosh, can you imagine how long it would take you to write a prompt for ChatGPT to try to even develop just a little bit of empathy?
Yeah. Oh, it'd be insanity. You'd
You'd
have it
spend
take.
more time trying to write the prompt than you'd
Yep.
ever spend writing the actual copy.
Yep. 100% agree. I think there's a quote by Denzel Washington that is incredible, talking about the difference between lifestyle and culture, understanding the
Mhm.
culture, understanding as you broke down, like, even if I have a 9-month-old little baby, I know the process that my wife goes through, and she's a rock star, the difficulty behind it.
Yeah.
But I couldn't fabricate that before I had a child. I couldn't even understand the emotional tie back and the difficulties that they go through until I saw it for myself. But now I wouldn't, there is no AI in the world that could validate the type of emotions that a woman has to go throughout that process of raising a child, of all of her endorphins and everything else coming in and out. There's such a factor there that you have to be there to actually understand and to feel. And I think we're
Mhm.
both saying the same thing, where
Yeah.
emotion is lackluster in AI, and emotion is what sells. Empathy and hitting a pain point that attracts a consumer's emotional
Mhm.
side. Every decision we make truly make is emotional based decision. Even if we thought about it for
100%.
forever, if we didn't like it, we're probably not going to pay money for it. So
Exactly. And we want to feel like we're understood by the people who are trying to sell us. We're not dumb in that we think that we're not being sold. We know that 90% of the things we're seeing on social media are either trying to sell a lifestyle or sell a product, right? So we're not missing that piece, but we want to feel like we're understood by the thing that's trying to sell us. If you seem like you don't understand me in my life, you are the last thing that I'm going to make sure that I dig into or that I go buy from.
especially, I'm not going to give you my money, right? So
Uh-uh.
that's where it comes down to. You mentioned something earlier in the call that put a huge smile on my face, which is Atlas, right? One of my bonus questions here. I got one last bonus
Okay,
question.
bring it on.
And it's so funny. I have this written, but no one else has brought up that book, probably because it's about this big. Atlas Shrugged. If you guys have not read it before, the basic structure of the book is: what if every business owner in the world, everyone that takes pressure on their shoulder, everyone that decides I will do more to help out this world, just says I'm not going to anymore. They take the world and they throw it off their shoulders and say, I'm done. I'm not going to do it. And it's a great concept and a book that alleviates and elaborates on what that would do to the world. So my question
Mhm.
for you today, Alicia, is: say Atlas shrugs and Atlas shrugs the world off his shoulders, and
Yep.
all the businesses that have ever been and ever was completely reset. What's the first
Mhm.
business you would create?
What's the first what?
What's the first business you would create?
Oh, honestly, it would probably be a coffee shop.
Oh, I love that.
One, I'm a coffee addict. Like,
You're a
it's a
coffee. Yep.
problem. If I'm not drinking coffee, I might be dying. There is currently a cup of coffee waiting for me in the microwave to go hit the start again. So coffee, yes. But also what I love about coffee is community building. So
Mm.
imagine the emotional toll of everything you know to exist, and every building down Main Street has started from scratch. There's no history, there's no anything. What is it that we're constantly seeking? It's community, it's tribe, it's people to support us, understand us, and connect with us, and also take care of us. And I find that get that in an amazing coffee shop. You're going to have a conversation with the teller. You're going to have a conversation with the other people in line. You're going to sit there and read the paper, and somebody's going to ask what was in the news. Or you're reading a book, and somebody might try to read the back cover and ask what you think of it. So I would start by building a coffee shop to, one, my habit, but also to recreate connection.
Oh, Alicia, I love that. I absolutely love it. Alicia James from Flamingo Consulting. I mean, just incredible hearing your amount of energy and the passion that you have for what you do. How can people find you? How can people get connected with you?
You can find me pretty much everywhere on our website, flamingoconsultingllc.com. You can find us on social media: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Flamingo Consulting LLC. You can also find me personally on Flock Her Way on Instagram and on Facebook. Um, and really, if you're really desperate, you could try smoke signals. It's worth a try.
I love that. I love that. Just make it in the shape of a flamingo and she'll be able to find you.
And honestly, I'll find it. Not to worry.
Oh, Alicia, I love it. I appreciate your time so much. Just an awesome overview. Anybody listening, if you are looking for an agency that's really there to help you out, they're there to push your business to the next level, and really there to guide you in the sense of being an omni-channel approach focused on generating revenue and growth for your business, make sure you reach out to Alicia James from Flamingo Consulting. Thank you so much for your time. This was awesome to have you on.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it. It was a pleasure.
Have a good one, guys.